Welcome to another Todd's
2-Minute Tech Tip Tuesday.
brought to you by the National RV Training Academy, the largest hands-on RV training academy in America. Hey, before we get to the video, which I know this is the reason why you're here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss anything. Hit the subscribe button now. Thank you. Now, back to our Tech Tip Tuesday. Hey, this week, go ahead and answer your questions when it comes to your RV. Don't be asking me questions unless you want to ask me about how to make a brisket. All right, now let's sit down. You got a pen? You got some paper? Let's go. Here we go. An RV related question. This is from Gators Rock 0219. I'm not sure which Gators, Florida or otherwise. Rock depends on the year. All right, here we go. Hey Todd, love your videos, and I got so much out of the Take Home RV Repair series. Well, of course I'm going to answer your questions. Here we go. I have a question about my Dometic absorption refrigerator that works great on 120 volt power, but is very stubborn igniting when using propane. Okay? I have thoroughly cleaned the igniter tube and observed good spark repeatedly lighting. I wait 5 minutes and then it tries again. In other words, there's a typical thing when anything propane related, right? The circuit board needs to know, is there a flame? It opens up the solenoid, allows the propane to flow on through. At the same time, it starts the igniter, and it's waiting for a flame. And if there's a flame, it'll leave the solenoid open, which means propane can keep flowing. If at a given interval, given time, it doesn't see the flame, it will shut down the solenoid, so no propane flow, because we don't want this propane just coming out. It'll wait a couple seconds and then do it again, and that's what he's describing. It's called it's just, there's a flame sense, it's not sensing a flame. Okay, says it does that several times. Okay, it waits 5 minutes and try again. This will happen several times until there's finally flow to the propane to ignite. So he's got intermittent operation. That's the way I would describe that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, I've confirmed propane flow at the range, the stove, right? Is it possible to replace the propane valve at the refrigerator? Thank you. Yes, it's possible. But I'm not saying at this point that's your problem.
Huh?
You have intermittent operation, okay? You have checked at the tube there, okay? You have checked flow at the stove, okay? Flow at the stove means jack. That just means you got propane, okay? I see this online, everything else. You got two different appliances, okay? When you test at the stove, the only thing you're proving is you got propane. I got a flame. But you're not proving whether that signal, the propane flow, is getting to the refrigerator. There could be a kink in the line that's at the refrigerator, not at the stove. Does that make sense? All right. So checking it at the stove does little for us, right? All you're doing is saying, yep, I've got propane. That's it, right? The flame height also tells you how much flow you have, but you can't really take the height of the flame and go, well, I've got this many BTUs coming. All right, so here's what we need to do. Before you get into replacing the valve, you need to test the flow at the valve, okay? Now, here's the thing, you don't have to be certified to check for propane on your own RV. But if you hire someone, they need to be certified to check this, okay? You've checked for obstructions in your tube, but what you want to check, one is you want to make sure that your solenoid is working. Could your solenoid, that's a little valve opening up and down, right? Could it have intermittent operation? Absolutely. Okay? That could be one of the reasons why you're not getting the flame, and sometimes it'll open. You can check that. Okay? And if you had my home study series, I showed you how to actually test that. Okay? Another thing, the orifice could be blocked. The orifice at that gas valve. I would check a couple things before I'd spend the money and swapping that out, okay? You'd want to check that. Of course, with your manometer, your manometer, you can check for the flow or the pressure at the gas valve, okay? There's going to be a little port there that you would have to open up. You'd have to get a different adapter to connect to it to see whether you can actually test for pressure, okay? You can also do a leak test, okay? But you're checking for pressure. Make sure that you got 11 inches of water column. That's what you're testing. Intermittent operation could be that I don't have the proper pressure coming to it. So there's not enough flow going across that igniter, okay? You said that you've observed the igniter, so I'm assuming you're saying you see the igniter in the right spot. If the igniter is cracked, right, it could be igniting over at the cracked portion, right, somewhere by the porcelain. not in the right spot. So I'm assuming you're visually looking at that. Here's the thing. I would test a few more things before replacing that. The one thing I hate is just replacing parts. There's your tech tip. All right, before you get to the bloopers, which is why you're here in the first place, the RV industry needs thousands of RV technicians and inspectors, and now is the perfect time to do that. If you want to make more money or have more control over your time, go ahead and click the link below. Or if you just want to learn how to fix your own RV, got something for you there. Head over to rvtechcourse.com and get started today.
Now for the reason that you're at the end of the video, roll the bloopers.
Hey, this week, gotta scratch my nose. Blah, 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 blah.
You've been gradually
Inching forward.
Inching forward.
All right, I'll go back. All right.